FaceTiming with Andrew Crispo himself. And
whoa, and knowing all that and not, oh man, that's scary.
Well, he wanted to when I was in New York. He knew I was in New York, and we had it set up where we were going to meet, but I was communicating to Crispo through an individual. I'm trying to say this politely, but a less than professional individual. I'll just put it that way.
Wow.
And so he was communicating back and forth. And then when I got to New York, I had a few things set up, including the prison interview, and they wouldn't communicate. And it wasn't until I had gotten upstate and was about to interview Lagueros in Attica prison that I got a message that Andrew Crispo would like to have somebody pick me up from my hotel in New York. And I wasn't in New York anymore. I mean, I wasn't in New York City anymore. And that he wanted to do the interview driving around in a car, which, as much as I've read about Andrew Crispo, that's how he would lure his victims. And one of my producers was with me in New York, and for hours, all I kept saying was, "This is," like, I was going crazy that night once I got that message, because I was like, I have to get back to Manhattan. I'm getting in the car with Andrew Crispo. This footage is going to be incredible. Like, this is going to be a hell of a scene, And the guy hasn't been interviewed since the 80s. It's like he's a ghost living off the grid, and he's in very, very poor health. So I don't know what's going on, and I haven't heard anything. There was a lot of shit talking after I left New York online, where I could tell some of these people around him had found posts on social media and started attacking me. And
whoa.
You just have to go to the Fort Worth Weekly article and look at the giant thread of responses. Because years ago, Fort Worth Weekly did a little post about Picasso's Christ, and then I don't know, 2 years or something went by, and all of a sudden I get back from New York and I'm getting all this crap talk from Crispo's camp defending him and such on a Fort Worth Weekly thread. You know what I mean? And so. And it doesn't make it. It's all like just the silliest. It's the silliest stuff, but that's a fun little thread to dig through. I eventually had to just kind of shut it down, but yeah. So if I can get to this forger guy, then at least then he may have some revelation to share. And I'm hoping, because his reputation has been absolutely decimated by his crimes, our appeal to him would be this. And again, it all goes back into like the Christ sketch, and the entire documentary. I played both sides, where we have Christ on the front, but yet you turn it over on the back and you do research, and it's a murderer, and it's like it's the good and the bad, you know what I mean? And so
yes,
and I honestly think that the best thing for the documentary to take it full circle would be essentially to take it back to what could be the very person that I got the Picasso from in 2008. Very likely could be this forger guy that just got out of prison. Now, the artwork we don't believe to be forged, but the paperwork that now is absolutely necessary to sell, to auction, to whatever with your artwork, it's all fake.
Tainted.
Wow. It's all tainted. And so, but this gentleman was at the top of his field when he was respected and, handling the art world, I guess. I don't know how deep his crimes go, honestly, but he wasn't known for forging or selling fakes. Forging artwork or selling fake artwork. He was just known for creating bogus paperwork. And so hopefully he would at least be able to tell us where it came from.
And he bogus the paperwork to make it look better, essentially.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's all there's to it. And so, yeah. So, and it was very clever, because he would have paperwork that would just loop into itself with dead collectors and such where you could never actually ever get to, so it's like, oh, all these people are dead, but
yeah, no one's going to research this.
yeah, the reality is, if this Picasso sketch was actually done in 1906, I don't have any paperwork on it until the 70s. So there's a tremendous gap. Most of the life of the artwork, we don't know where it was.
Right. And at the time when he got it, he needed to probably bump it up because it's kind of a useless.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one thing that helped, going back to the forensic thing that day, we know in the art world that, I'm trying to word this so it doesn't give away, what we know, but if anybody that not framed it, they would have had to know when it was framed. You know what I mean? But anybody since it had been framed in the 50s or 60s knew what we know now after pulling it out of its frame, then it would have been listed a whole lot differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people took this from the 50s or 60s and passed it on, sold it, gave it, did whatever they did to wherever the Picasso Christ sketch went throughout the years. It ended up at the Andrew Crispo Gallery in the late 70s.
Wow. So how can I watch it now, or where could I watch it?
Well, there really isn't a way to watch it now. I mean,
okay.
Like between us, if you want to see like our current cut, I'll send you our current.
Okay.
You're a filmmaker, and you also could contribute. To
ideas. I critique it. For sure.
you could contribute to ideas that I'll get you a way to screen it, but it's absolutely not for the public until we have our ending.
Okay, and how far away do you think that might be? It's all depending on.
Well, that's what I was saying a second ago, is that I'm writing a letter to petition the forger guy to try and convince him that if he helps on camera, he comes in and he's the new character, he's the third act of this documentary, and he helps us get to the truth. This could actually be some salvation for him personally in the art world. You know what I mean? He could kind of turn that coat and start helping, art forensics and whatever else.
Right.
And maybe Picasso's Christ could be his guinea pig.
Kind of like a catch me if you can type of thing,
Exactly.
Convert them.
Right. Exactly. Just like that, but man. Since then we've dealt with the FBI. We've dealt with, there's just too many layers, and it shouldn't be this difficult. But then again, when I acquired the Picasso, that was the mission. It's like, all right, I know this has value. I believe it's real to my core, but how do I get it? And I'd never done this. I couldn't find anything online other than the Who the Blank is Jackson Pollock documentary, which is incredible. That was one of the first ones where they took a piece of artwork and worked it through the chain to prove it real or not. And so that's kind of was an inspiration when I got the Picasso. It was like, all right, well, I'm going to make a documentary, and I'm going to show the audience what it takes to, if you find artwork in a garage sale, or you inherit something, or how do you actually put value on it? How do you get it recognized by the art community?
And I'm sure you've thought about doing the whole series thing or to be continued, and I'm sure you've been dogged on that, but it's like now when I watch documentaries, and usually they're like 45 to an hour, and like a good example, I guess I found out why I don't watch them as much as I used to, is especially the ones made for television. We were my girlfriend's all about doing Atlantis, and we were watching all these documentaries. I'm like, look, let's just watch the last 10 minutes, because whatever they say, the tagline is that we're going to discover this, or we're going to find this one place, they'll sum it up at the very last minute. Of course, every 10 minutes is like they'll go through the entire documentary, and then they'll close up the loop that they started hours ago. So I started speed watching. Is that what happens?
In television, it's very formatted like that. And especially, and you're right, with mini-series and stuff now, especially American crime or crime mini-series now are more popular than ever. I've been saying since day one that Picasso's Christ, it's too much to put into 80 or 90 minutes. It really should be 3 or 4 45-minute episodes. And considering I have 1 hour of footage with the murder in Attica, and I've got did a 60-minute interview with one of the greatest artists of our time, Shepard Fairey, and Dave Hickey, the art critic from the 60s. And it's just like, there's a lot of stuff that all the interviews, we don't, you know how it is. You don't go in and shoot 5 minutes, you're spending hours with them. So I have
Yes.
all this content that could, I think it's valuable to the art world, and it's valuable to the viewer, and so I don't know, but until I can get the answer, the film or the miniseries, it will just never, the story will never be done until I get the answer. I need to know if Picasso's Christ is real or fake.
Yeah.
I just had to go through hell to get it, and meet murderers and forgers and con man and the FBI and federal marshals, and
Yeah.
it's just another film.